Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard, and thank you so much for tuning in to my personal channel here at VickiDillard.tv. I'm so glad that you are with me today. I thought I would surprise you and pop up really, really quick live. I don't see anyone in the chat yet, so I'm hoping that you will see some of the notifications populate here momentarily. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. I told you that starting 2026, I'm going to be doing more content on my personal channel. Of course, I'm still building and working on other projects that's related to the overall mission and work of Vicki Dillard. Yes, looks like I'm seeing, well, maybe. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, I see someone coming in. Welcome, 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 family. I do have a little bit of a ritual that as you come in, some of you all should know this by now, but it's been a minute. As you come in, beloved, be sure to come in giving us a big thumbs up. Give me a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. Of course, make sure that you are subscribed to Vicki Dillard and make sure that you hit all notifications. Yes, thank you so very much. How y'all doing? I'm seeing a few of you pop on in here. Yes, how y'all doing? Yes, put your city and state where you're from. I see somebody put they from Virginia. Hey, baby, Alexandria. How you doing, precious? You fancy in that? What did you say that is? What is that? Somebody said they from Chicago. I see you, Lansing, Michigan. How y'all doing? McQueen says, hey, beautiful. Hey, precious. Somebody says Chicago, Chicago. Yes, baby. That's my, okay, I see my beautiful moderator, Miss Sharifa. How you doing, precious? Out of Michigan. I see Kansas City, Missouri. I see Alabama. I see Texas. All right, y'all. Y'all come on in. Come on in. I see Oakland, California. Family, let me tell my Instagram family really, really quick that I am going live quickly on my channel here. Okay, I'm gonna hold my device right here. Somebody say, "What's up, Vicki from Pennsylvania?" Hey, precious, how y'all doing, Pennsylvania? I see you. I see you. Oh, look at my state, my home state, Mississippi. I see you, Greenville, baby. How y'all doing? North Carolina, Durham. Yes, yes, yes. Got some family history out there too. Vicki looking like a black Barbie doll. How you doing, precious? Indianapolis, yes, Baltimore. Oh, y'all are from all over. Hey, Instagram. I wanted to pop in really, really quick. Instagram. I am live briefly, very quickly on my personal channel at VickiDillard.tv. You can connect with me directly there, or go straight to Facebook and go to Vicki Dillard TV. So Instagram, I want you to come on over now to my personal channel. That is, yes, because I am going to be discussing very, very briefly a little bit about the Don Lemonade, and y'all know I've been kind of hearing it for a long time, and Nicki Minaj debacle, and I want to hit on just a little bit about this so-called suspect Black Panther that's been popping up. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to connect some dots. Y'all know my get down, baby. I'm going to connect some dots because I've been out of the loop for some days, handling some other stuff related to my business behind the scenes, and of course, always my health. So Instagram, it look kind of shiny on here. What thing is this, baby? Let me get off of here. Instagram, come on over now to VickiDillard.tv. You can see me live that way, or go directly to YouTube at Vicki Dillard TV. Yes, how y'all doing, Instagram? So Instagram, come on over. So family, shout out back to you, YouTube. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. Yes, hit that thumbs up button, share. Okay, I see more of you all from North Carolina, New Hampshire, Florida, Pascagoula, Mississippi. I said a minute ago, Greenville, Mississippi. I see you, Mississippi. Y'all know that's my home state. Portland, Oregon. Hi, Oxford from Durham. Hey, precious. And many, many more of you are from different states. Yes, you pretty up here. Thank you, precious. So, family. Now, I know some of you all have been hearing a lot about Don Lemonade lately in the news. Yes, him and Nicki Minaj. Now, I have a very long history of discussing, I almost said disgusting, baby. That was a prophetic Freudian slip. Talk back to me, somebody. But y'all know I have a long history of talking about Don Lemon, and for good reason. And so he's battling Nicki Minaj in the news. He's saying that a statement that she made he feels was inappropriate, blah, 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 right? Well, I'm going to talk very briefly about why all of that is a red herring. I don't have no love for him and or Nicki Minaj, but I want to bring it back to what it ought to be brought back to. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know Don Lemon was a mouthpiece for them folks. Y'all know Don Lemon has always been about that establishment life and leveling up. Now, he utilized his connection to the LGBTQ community, which he's a part of, and that's his business or whatnot. But I'm saying he used that to maneuver in such a way until they fired him. Somebody say fired him out of CNN and stuff. Let him go. Now they moved around his little show. He had a primetime show at night. They moved him to a morning show. See, some of y'all behind schedule on stuff. And then the people that he allied himself with, baby, they took him down. Who was it? A white woman live on TV, baby. She screamed that he attacked white women and he lost his job and stuff. And I think he made 1 or 2 appearances back on CNN, baby. This is a trick. Don is trying to get some credentials going. He's trying to get back somewhere on somebody's television station that's not alternative media. This is the most attention that he's had in a very, 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 very long time. This is a job interview. Are y'all listening? You look regal, queen. Thank you so much, precious. Don't y'all ever get tricked. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. One of the reasons why I was going off on Don Lemon for so long, as I've called him for many years now, Don Lemonade, and Joy Reid, and y'all know I affectionately call her what? Joyless Reid. It's because, baby, they have always been a mouthpiece to make sure that they promote the establishment system, keep Black folks in check, and scream bloody murder when something else goes on. Y'all ain't hear me today. So, baby, this is the most attention Don has gotten in a long time. I am not going to be sitting here shilling for no Nicki Minaj either. But how dare any of y'all sit up here and act like what she did on behalf of MAGA and them silly white Republicans is any different from those sellout Black folks that sit there and glad hand with a Stacey Abrams, with a Joe Biden, with a Kamala Harris, and with the Obamas. Talk black to me, somebody. This is how you all get tricked real good. See, one side knows that the mere mortal's mind is easily triggered off of a few optics. So you respond in a way to them, for them, in a way that you don't the other side, and they're the other ones that are destroying you. See, the other side, you enjoy. You shake their hands. They are a friendly enemy. That poison is mixed with honey and sweetness, and you like that. You're looking beautiful. Thank you so much. Who's paying y'all to say all this stuff? Let me know where I can make a donation. Talk black to me, somebody. So let's not get off in that. Don does not deserve us backing him, giving him kudos, giving him heads up. In my opinion, no. And I'm going to give you one brief example about why. Don has the ability to really show, like, he'll come across with some strong Black points and then he'll go back to crazy. Y'all hear me today? So we don't, it's a trick. He's just a bunch of just tricks and more tricks and some tricks, just about tricks. It's a lot of tricks. Just a lot of tricks on both sides of the aisle. So if we're outraged at Nicki, and that makes sense, we need to be equally outraged with the Don Lemons, which is why I call them Don Lemonade. And I've done that for a long, long time. Some of y'all are new and some of you forget. The slightest little stuff in the news throw you for loops and you get easily distracted and you misdirect your attention and your anger and your action. Are y'all hearing me today? Somebody said Don Lemon flip-flop. That's why you can't. Yes, but he's he's flipping and flopping for jobs. Somebody say jobs. He's looking for jobs. Another media job. You guys don't understand. How is it that a Vicki Dillard for so long has been so right about all of the networks and cable networks and channels that y'all love to get on and brag and quote? How do I keep being right about all them people? Don don't have a job there at CNN no more. Roland Martin, nobody wants him at CNN no more. Joyless Reed, even MSNBC let her go. Angela Rye, she can't get back on CNN like she used to. Tiffany Cross, weekend show, MSNBC, fired. Simone Sanders, after she made a fool of herself, after she did all that linebacking for Joe Biden, literal linebacking. Y'all know I don't dog a black woman's beautiful, voluptuous body. But when you use your beautiful, voluptuous body, baby, for a white supremacist, baby, all bets are off. All bets are off. How many of y'all know Simone Sanders? She used to be on Bernie Sanders' campaign, which I don't believe in Bernie Sanders. I don't know how y'all got tricked with loving Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders believed in spending trillions of dollars for all Americans. But when you asked him to cut the check for black folks for reparations, remember he set his hips on The View and said, hell to the no, no, no. They all believe in that. So she used to be on Bernie Sanders' campaign, tricked y'all to believe that she was really, about liberal stuff and down to earth and stuff. When she realized Joe Biden was running for president, remember, even though the previous cycle she was with Bernie Sanders, they was tripping because they were like, how could you be so liberal and then decide that you're going to work for the most racist Democrat campaign? Remember, even Democrats were saying about how racist Joe Biden was. Remember, that's why people was mad at even Obama years ago when he chose him as his VP. Y'all forgot that? Did you all forget how many years and decades Joe Biden literally ran for president and he couldn't win? And a black man, Obama, by making him VP, is the one that gave him the hope and the traction to become president, something he could never have accomplished in all these many decades? Because other Democrats called him racist. Y'all forgot that, didn't you? All the Democrats was calling Joe Biden racist. They was mad at Obama for choosing him. Shout out, Bristol. I see you in the building, Precious. Kisses back to you. See, y'all don't be keeping up with stuff and you get tricked in modern times. And then you look at a Vicki, like, I don't know what I'm talking about when you're the one that's behind. All the people that you love, all the people in channels and networks that you go to, those folks don't have jobs there no more. Now, Simone, as I mentioned before, remember, she switched from pretending like she was truly down to earth about working class, connecting to Joe Biden and stuff. A lot of the Democrats were mad at her because she went pro-racist by fooling with Joe Biden and helping with his campaign. Y'all remember? Watch this. What happened? She went with Joe Biden because she felt like Joe was the one that's going to really level her up. Because she felt like of all the Democrats, he would be the one that was going to help her get in that White House. Now, how many of y'all know that when she was running, when she was on Joe Biden's campaign, remember, leading up to that, she came out, dogged black men, and basically told black men in general that she was tired of their unsolicited opinions. Y'all remember that? Some of y'all don't remember that. So you see how you behind the schedules and be quoting people, the wrong people. So she came against Black America, dogged Black America to help anti-black, lily white Joe Biden, watch this, so he could get in the White House. Now, she thought she had a chance in hell of becoming press secretary. How many of y'all remember that? Simone Sanders thought that she was going to become press secretary. How many of y'all remember Vicki Dillard on all the different networks and channels and broadcasts I've done over the years? How many of y'all remember I prophesied to her early on, ma'am, that's not going to happen. Ma'am, they tricking you. Trick, they tricking you. You're not going to be no. You're not about to be press secretary doing all that, girl. She thought that. Y'all thought that. So because he won, she thought this is looking good. Remember? Now, on the campaign right before Joe Biden won, how many of y'all remember Joe Biden was doing a campaign and a non-dairy, non-violent protesting? Literally, that's what the people was protesting about dairy. They jumped up there on the stage with Joe Biden while he was giving a campaign speech. Instead of her allowing security to do security's job, because that's what security is paid to do, their jobs. Security is supposed to secure. How many of y'all know security is supposed to secure? When you are on the campaign, and she was hired as a senior advisor. Senior advisors are not supposed to be taking bullets for presidential candidates. Some of y'all behind schedule. See, this is what's wrong with you when you don't keep up with the Vicki Dillards. Everybody be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Share, share, share. Somebody said, teach guys, you know I'm gonna do what I do. Now watch the linebacking. Y'all put some footballs in the chat. Now y'all know I don't even fool with sports like that. Y'all know I see it's just a notch or two under terrorist attack. I'm not deep like that in athletics and stuff, in sports and stuff. But from time to time I have to get involved in stuff because, you know, politics and all kinds of power is influenced in sports. So I have to get into it and do research that I know that would never, ever, never, 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 ever, never, ever, never, never, ever do. But with this time I had to do it for obvious reasons. Now, how many of y'all know that before Joe Biden won, he was doing a campaign, a non-violent, non-dairy protester, somebody that was up there protesting about dairy with a placard. They jumped up there to tell Joe Biden about their little position on the policy on non-dairy stuff, screaming and hollering at him. Instead of her letting security secure Joe Biden, the lady that's supposed to be just talking, meaning giving advice, because she said she was a senior advisor for his campaign. How many of y'all know that Simone Sanders, what are your footballs? Okay, I see YouTube putting the footballs in the chat. Instagram, get with the program. Baby, how many of y'all know Simone gonna jump up on the stage and do the job of security? How many of y'all know, and y'all know I play the footage over and over and over again. She jumped up on the stage. She allowed her glorious and beautiful, voluptuous body to be shaken and used for Joe Biden. Baby, no. She jumped up there, literally, no exaggeration, snatched, drugged down the non-dairy, non-violent little protester. She got in the way of what Secret Service should have been. She got in the way of the security people's job. Jumped out there, pulled the girl down. Watch this. And the most offensive thing that she did as a Black woman with long nails, almost like mine. Now, this is how you know something is really wrong with her head. You know she's disturbed, and this was a cry for help when she jumped out there. Watch this. What did she do? Simone jumped out there with her voluptuous body. Yes. Shook it and drug it for this white supremacist. Drug down a non-violent, non-dairy protester. Try to show Joe Biden, I'm about that life for you. Remember me, because she was doing that for him to know, make sure you pick me down for the press secretary. That's why she was doing it. In case you all don't understand why she did it, she was making sure that her job was secure for press secretary for that position. So she physically jumped out there to defend him. Now, the most offensive thing that she did, it was one thing to jump out there as a Black woman, to put your life and limb on the line. Your beautiful, voluptuous body, you allowed that thing to shake and move for a white supremacist. That's disgusting. But on top of that, as a Black woman with nails, watch this, she broke her nail, dragging that lady down the steps for Joe Biden. No Black woman in her right mind is about to break their nail for nobody like that. And especially when you break it for a literal white supremacist like Joe Biden, you know something is something going on with you. You need help. It's a cry, a strong cry for help. Now, you are laughing, some of you probably, and you're like, Vicki, what is this? She did that because she was trying to show Joe Biden that she's so down for him. She physically jumped out there. And to remind Joe, make sure you give me that press job that behind the scenes y'all was winking at me and making me think it's finna be in. Watch this. What happened? Y'all tell me what happened when, what's in her name? Jen Psaki, the white girl that was the press secretary when Joe Biden was there. Remember, she was saying that she was getting ready to leave. She's going to step down, spend time with her family and all that. Who out here talking about in the chat, you dying? Why y'all laughing at me? Stop laughing. This is serious. She said which was a lie because Jen Psaki, y'all don't know nothing about that girl's history. She was with the CIA. She was doing CIA propaganda talking points. That's how she became press secretary to do them same propagandistic talking points. And what ended up happening with Jen Psaki, I've been told y'all she was full of you know what. She was lying. What happened? A few months later, she popped up with a job at MSNBC. See, the mere mortals be behind. While y'all still quoting them. Thank you for your precious compliments. Instagram, come on over to VickiDillard.tv or access me live on YouTube at Vicki Dillard TV directly. Yes, Instagram, because I'm getting ready to click off. Come on over Instagram because I'm going to continue this there. By the way, family, make sure that you get your yummy 2026 calendar, my beautiful, steamy pictorial calendar, baby. I see some of y'all already have been buying it. Y'all see this Instagram. Y'all see this YouTube. Baby, just 12 months of inspiration. And of course, I put some yummy pictures in there that I've never shown the public. A handful of those, baby. So don't even get it, baby. Every day, just be inspired by sacred beauty. How many of y'all know beauty is sacred? Go to VickiPlanet.com. That's my website. Wherever you're watching me, there should be a link pinned or one in the bio on Instagram at the top. Yes, get yours today, okay? Instagram, come on over to VickiDillard.tv. Yes. Well, I continue what really went down with Simone Sanders. Now, how many of y'all know Instagram and YouTube? How many of y'all know? Let me put this on real fast, family. Y'all know I'm live, baby. Thank y'all for y'all patience. Everybody hit that thumbs up button, share, share, share. All right, family. Now watch this. So, family, y'all know I'm a one-woman show. I'm putting this all up at the same time. On Instagram, I'm letting them know that I am live. And Vicki Dillard, y'all hit that thumbs up button, share, 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 family. Make sure that you get your 2026 calendar, which is still the beginning of the year. So it's a perfect time to get yours today. Those that got theirs early, baby, they got a discount on theirs, baby. The early birds got those about the pre-sales, baby. I made sure to take care of them. But you can get yours at VickiPlanet.com. We're going to put the link there in just a moment, okay? But let me get back to where I'm going. I had to look, y'all, I had to put that up. I had to put that up on my Instagram page. Thank you so much, Precious. Okay, let me see. Thank you, Miss Sharifa. Let me pin. Let me pin it. Okay, that's my website, family. She's on it. Everybody hit that thumbs up button, share, share, share. Family. Okay, let me get to where I'm going right now. Okay, watch this now. So what was I saying about Simone? So Simone, because some of y'all don't know the story about the madness of it all and how people get down. So Simone, y'all, I believe in a beautiful, voluptuous black woman, baby, but I just believe it is absolutely diabolical and satanic. The worst kind of wrong religion and spirituality to get involved in. The worst vile kind, baby. And I believe in using ancient occult magic. But baby, the worst kind you can do is to use your body for no white supremacists out here. That's baby, it's a whole nother level when you do all that. No, we don't do that over here, baby. Watch this. So back to that campaign. So Joe Biden's funny looking self was on the campaign trail, right? So watch this. She, talking about Simone, and trying to impress Joe Biden. See, this is what people need to understand. She was trying to impress Joe Biden and to make sure that he considered her for that press secretary job, right? So she broke a nail, literally put her life on the line for this man, instead of letting security do all the security. That's how you know we used to doing too much. You out there being a whole mammy for Zaddy. So watch this. So she broke a nail for nothing. But again, y'all, I don't want you to miss the point of why she did it. She did it because she was trying to go overboard and to remind Joe and them that behind the scenes, they already gave her a wink and a smile about her becoming press secretary. I told her, prophesied early on, ma'am, warned her. it's going to cost her for selling out her people. She didn't believe that fat meat is greasy. So because Simone didn't believe fat meat is greasy, she felt, well, Joe Biden won, and she was on the campaign to help him win. So look, this is how she did us, with her attitude was like, that was her. Like Master was not going to disappoint her. That's what she wanted me to know. She wanted us to know. She wanted us to know that she knows Joe Biden like nobody knows him. She wanted us to know, look, he won the election. So yes, of course she's going to get this, the White House press secretary job. That's where her mind was going. Wrong direction. Her mind was going wrong way. Wrong way. Watch this. Y'all, I'm still putting this last little bit up here. Thank you all for your patience as you hit that thumbs up button and share, share, share. Now watch this. So she thought she was the stuff. He done won. She in the White House, baby. Watch this. Jen Psaki, I think she was the one that was press secretary at the time. Then after a year or so, I don't remember what the time frame was. After a little bit of time, the white press secretary was saying she was talking about making plans to leave, to she was going to spend time with her family. I knew all that was a lie. I didn't know what the trick was. I knew it was a trick. And of course, I ended up being right, because after a few minutes of her being out the White House, she found her hips on MSNBC, which I knew, because all that's plans. That's how they do. Don't ever get it twisted. All of these cable networks, including Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, they're just mouthpieces. They're de facto state-sponsored cable networks. I said de facto. They get their talking points. They get all the little narratives and stuff that they're supposed to get from the White House, and they stick to that on either side. All this is just tricks for the mere mortals, while you out there quoting them like they legit. Watch this. So after Simone did all that linebacking for Joe Biden, right? We can get to where you're going. After Simone made a fool of herself, did all that linebacking for Joe Biden to make sure that his team kept their word or their wink and their nod about her becoming press secretary. She was humiliated when they didn't pick her. How many of y'all remember Kareem Jean-Pierre? The Haitian lady ended up being the press secretary. That's the one that ended up blocking me. Y'all remember? On a couple of platforms. She was mad because I did a broadcast and her name was in the broadcast. The whole broadcast wasn't even hardly about her funny looking self, but I did bring her up. And of course, I gave her that work real quick and moved on to something else, but she was real mad about it. And so shut that down. So y'all know how the White House people do me, baby. The White House people just be mad at Vicki Dillard. Low Vicki Dillard, they mad about what I got going on over here. Watch this. So the one who won the press secretary, she ended up having an issue with me. She ended up blocking me on some stuff. That's a whole different story. I'm gonna leave it alone. But Simone was mad and humiliated that she got humiliated. Like we prophesied early in advance that she would be. Let me hit the gavel on that. For those of you that don't know, the Vicki Show is the home of the hand claps and the gavel raps. I'm the OG. Yes. That line backage. Backfired. Watch this. So she did all that linebacking during the campaign to secure his presidential nomination. Only for dog black folks threw us under the bus, only for her to be humiliated and realize that she was used like we told her she was being used. She, watch this, they threw her on Kamala's little staff, gave her some little, I can't even say a corner office. I don't forget what those things are called when you work jobs and they put them dividers in between you and somebody else's computer. That's essentially what her thing was. So she was humiliated. They tried to give her a little cushy name about communication, something or another for Kamala, made a fool of her. Watch this, to where she was forced to leave the White House. So she was a loyalist for Joe Biden them. So even she clearly, I speculate, gave the nod to the Bakari Sellers of the world and all those other folks. Yes, Bakari is on CNN, but that's her buddy. They even came out going off on Joe Biden them for not giving her that job. Like I told y'all, she thought she was gonna get it. Of course, we knew that was no way in hell you was finna get that job, man. They used you. We knew you was usable. I was confused how you didn't know that's what they was doing. So she made a fool of herself, did all that linebacking for nothing. And then when she got the little weekend job on MSNBC, she was able to calm down a little bit because she still felt important because she was a little bit in the limelight. Y'all see how they go? Why did I bring her up? That was a long story because I was not trying to go there. I'm just trying to show you all the people that y'all quote and thought was something that they don't have jobs. Their dream jobs. They feel like nothing. Likewise, Don Lemon still feels like a nobody, but they're trying to use their Instagram, YouTube, social media presence to really make them feel like they somebody again. And because the previous networks that they were on still's not choosing them anymore, they're trying to get out there, get more attention like never before. So he jumped in the fray with the Nicki Minaj style. Don Lemon. Now I'm back to talking about Don. He's jumped in the fray, got more attention than he's ever gotten since he's been fired from CNN. And still hoping and praying that he can still get a job on cable somewhere, very likely. Do y'all understand how this goes? Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Yes, Simone is still LOM. For those of you that don't know, I came up with that phrase years ago. LOM, LOM, stands for League of Mammies. Now watch this. Oh, y'all, I wasn't even trying to do this. Is this the ones? Y'all, look, I wasn't even trying to pull this up right now. This the line backage. Y'all, look. Let me see if I can put the clip up. So y'all don't think, let me turn it this way. Why are they playing that music? Okay, let me go to this other one. Hold on, y'all. Because some of y'all don't believe in the line backage of it all. And y'all know how over time, when I make stuff an issue, things have a way of becoming hard to find online because, you know, that's my thing. And that's what I'm good at. And that's what the copycats copy. Watch this. Where is this at? I'm going to turn the volume down. Now, y'all look real good on this clip. Because I don't want that Yankee music. I believe in some of the cowboy stuff because we came up with it, but I don't want to hear them do it. Okay, can y'all see this? Oh, y'all can't see that. That is not a good. What did they do with the video? This ain't the stuff. This ain't the one I usually show y'all. Y'all give me a minute. Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Share real quick. I really want some of y'all to see this because some of y'all don't believe that it is what it is. I was not intended to show this, so that's the reason why I wasn't prepared to do this one. I think this is it. Okay, I think this is the one. Yeah, this is it. Okay. I'm not sure why this. 1 second, y'all. Baby, your sister is doing the stuff live, doing the most. Talk to me, somebody. I want y'all to see this little bit, just this little bit, in case y'all don't know what I'm talking about, baby. Real quick, look close, y'all, because there's a lot going on in the clip. Oh, we finna get this together. Here we go. Okay, y'all, look real close. Here we go. In the neighborhoods, we come from the trim. Y'all see that? Look at Simone, the tackling. Look at the tackling. Look, y'all, look. Look. Why? We're gonna go. Look. Y'all didn't see it. One more time, y'all, real quick. Look. Look at Simone fly up there. Look at Simone. No, one more time. Baby. See, that's her and Stacey Abrams That's her and all the black. No, no, no. We don't do that. No, black women, we too prissy. We too girly. So I gotta stay away from people that don't understand my value. No. I'm not gonna work hard and fight and scream and be confused. And damn sure not gonna be out there tackling like that. What do I look like shaking and doing all? No, no. No, I don't do, no. Whatever they say out there. That's not how that goes. And so I was telling this story some years ago, and I kept telling the story, and I kept looking over and over again for the right words. And one of y'all, because y'all know I don't do sports language like that, and one of y'all was like, Vicki, let's just say, because I was saying how all that was just so ridiculous. No black woman should be doing that. All that was unnecessary. And guess what one of y'all told me? One of y'all was like, she needs to be penalized for unnecessary roughness. Yes, I'm going to keep telling that story. Somebody say unnecessary roughness. See, that's what you weirdos do. You will sell your people out with unnecessary roughness in support of what you ought not. They're not right. So when I show you the picture of the roughness, when I show you the tackling for nothing at all, I want you to know that's their energy for the Democrat Party. That's not their energy for you getting justice, reparations. No. One more time, and I promise I'm done. Look, with that part. Look. Look at Simone. Simone, why? 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 Look. Single-handedly. What was those other people there for? The security was looking at her, was like, God, they didn't teach us that move in training. Just unnecessary line-backing roughness. Do they throw flags down when you get them in trouble and stuff on the field? Whatever the people do, that's what needs to be done in this instance. And that's what I did politically. So no, I have not let her live that up, because no black woman in their right mind is about to do that and then break no nail for no white supremacists. Who is this from? Snake Doctor. Oh, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold, precious. Thank you so much. Just for nothing. Now get off of that, Vicki. I haven't even got nowhere on the topic. Look, so Don Lemon is in that group. Joy Reid and them is in that group. All of them trying to make a comeback. And it hurt us to see them try to do that, because it's not right how they doing it. The desperation, the political tricks that they're willing to do for themselves to get back into the limelight, because they feel like a nobody. They feel like nothing. You see what I'm saying? So Don Lemon had to jump in the fray between him and Nicki Minaj. Yes? So here's a clip of Don. As I've called him for years, Don Lemonade, for a number of different reasons, because he's a sellout. That's why I call him that. Let's be clear. And that's why I've called him that for years. So he came out, and this is what he said about Nicki. So Nicki came out and made some statements about his lifestyle. Now, he does have that lifestyle. Now, I don't know what he be doing with all that stuff, but he didn't like that she said it. And she was pissed at Don because she felt like, because he did a church protest. How many of y'all know that Don went out there and captured with his team, captured a protest in a white church. So Nicki came out in support of them white folks, you know, Don being disrespectful and doing protests inside the church, not outside the church, but inside the church, which I thought was crazy too. But all that was a stunt. Now they charged him. I think he just came out today or something saying that the court threw that out. Either way, Don is not no hero. Don is doing all these tricks to get TV and attention. All that's about attention. He don't care nothing about that. So Don is coming out against ICE, but he's not making any sense. What is this? Descendant layer? Your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. Vicki, you are so loved and appreciated. Oh, I love you back. I hope this lets me like on your gift. Your gift is blessed 1,000-fold, precious. Thank you so much. So Don was mad about what he felt to be a nasty comment by Nicki Minaj. And this is what he basically said.
So people have been asking me about responding to Nicki Minaj's unhinged, homophobic tweet about me. I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about shit for which you know nothing about. This is you're out of your depth, by the way, and you are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans, and you're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who's reportedly a sex offender, the other family member, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband, and one of them is reportedly a pedophile. And you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do? Nicki Minaj, get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of a Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick-me. And I choose not to pick you. And so should black people, and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music.
Child, I'm disgusted by both of them. I'm disgusted by both of them because Don does not want us to deal with the real issues. He wants to put his sexual status and stuff, put that in the limelight. And as you heard him say, he said, normally I don't get off into stuff like this, but he wants to respond to Nicki Minaj. That was the way for him to get traction. Both he and Nicki are no good for us. Regardless of whether we agree with his lifestyle or not, that's not the point. I want y'all to stay focused, to say no, no, and no. Now, notice on the one hand, he's sitting there saying how she's not African-American, trying to act like he down, which he's not. Then he's saying under Trump's rules, she should be deported. So what is he saying? He's out there dogging ICE and defending immigrants. But when it comes to Nicki, and for political reasons and for social media reasons, he's sitting there basically saying that she needs to be deported. Is that what he's intimating? By saying that under Donald Trump's rules, she's supposed to be deported. That's really what he's saying by making the statement like that. And by throwing it in the same sentence as saying, and she's not African-American, even though a lot of us don't necessarily use African-American because we know for political reasons they use that so that they don't give Black Americans justice. So there's a reason he threw that in with the fact that she's not African-American while he's against ICE and pro-migrants in general. You see how that don't match? You see how they don't go together? Somebody just said that's a great point. Yes, yes, because they're playing games with us. I don't have no love for that fool. Or Nicki. Look. Now I want y'all to see something that came out. I saw this, I just saw this recently. Look at this. Now this is a clip. Where is this one at? Watch this. So Don is, once again, he's pretending like he's a real journalist out there with his microphone talking to people on the streets, right? So Don, is this the one? Okay, I think this is it. And while I'm pulling this one up, family, notice how he's mad that she called him, LGBTQ, which he is LGBTQ. She was saying it for different reasons, but he is that. So I guess that's offending him that she said that about him because he's that, but she brought up what she feels he may be, doing in bed. So to flip the script on her, he brings up the pedo stuff related to her and her family or whatever. Yes, you heard what he said. I'm going to leave it at that. I love you back, beloved overthinkers. Thank you so much for your support and all of you. Listen. But I'm going to connect some dots in the way that you all going to be like, Vicki, you done really did this thing. I always do this, and I'm not going to stay on this very long because I want to get off here and get off in just a minute because I'm not going to give them undue attention because I don't want us to do that. I want us to keep the main thing, and that is we need to keep our foot on the neck of Donald Trump and them about getting us reparations and getting us tangibles. That's what the focus needs to be on. The focus needs to be on who's our allies in public spaces to make sure that we keep that the main thing. While they're giving trillions and trillions of dollars for unjust wars, And while Trump and them doing all kind of weird stuff, and while the so-called elites, the globalists, are using our government and agencies as de facto laundering agencies for trillions of dollars, our focus needs to be back on that. Talk black to me, somebody. Well, this clip of Don is out. Look at this. Watch this. Now, keep in mind what he just said about Nicki Minaj and deportation, right? What is Don talking about? Watch this.
Crime? No, it's not a criminal.
Watch this.
It's a misdemeanor.
He's on the streets.
Crossing the border illegally is not a crime? No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor. So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law? That's the point. Okay, as somebody that...
Okay, watch this.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime? No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor. So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law? That's the point. Okay, as somebody that... We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that. Yeah, I don't think we're going. Misdemeanor is not a crime. So misdemeanor is not a crime? It's not a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act. Charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act. Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same. So it is crime. No, it's just different levels. We have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not. You're not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act. So it's breaking the law. No, you're not breaking the law. No. If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI. That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. Right. So it's still breaking the law. Okay, but if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing. But is it the law? What is it? The law that what? Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law? There are rules that processes that you should follow. Yeah, so you're breaking rules.
Lie.
You're breaking rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law. So what happens when you break the rules? Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up.
No, we're actually not getting nothing mixed up. No, we're not getting nothing mixed up, Don Lemonade. Do you see how for people? They are literally sitting here telling you, these Democrat shills, that it is not against the law. Don Lemon won't even call illegal migrants. He won't even call it breaking a law. He changed it to say, oh, it's a policy, it's a rule, it's a policy. Oh, we're not going to do semantics. So a misdemeanor, the man asking, sir, so a misdemeanor, you telling me a misdemeanor is not... it's still it's not a violation of the law. No. So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point. Okay, as somebody that we don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that. Yeah, I don't think we're going. Misdemeanor is not a crime. Yeah. So misdemeanor is not a crime? It's not a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act. So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act? Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same. So it is crime. No, it's just different levels. We have different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. You're not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act. So it's breaking the law. No, you're not breaking the law. No. If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI. That's not a criminal act. Well, no, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. Right. So it's still breaking the law. Okay, but if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying,
that's the only thing the man was trying to say. Even if you're trying to say, Don, that it's not criminal. Lioness be blessed. Your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. She said, today is my birthday. Y'all shout out Philly's birthday. Lioness be blessed. It's your birthday, but you give me a gift. Thank you, beloved. Your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. May you have the most glorious birthday ever. Yes. That's so precious. So family, when the person said to them, okay, if a person is speeding and they get a misdemeanor, are you saying the misdemeanor, if you're saying it's not a criminal act, it's still a violation of the law, right? He said, no, it's not a violation of the law. Even though he's, child, look at all the stuff that they do to lie for people that violate the law to get here. Y'all see that? Vicki, you look beautiful. Thank you so much. My point is, even when he said it's not a quote-unquote criminal act, he would not even agree that it's a violation of the law. When he slipped up and said it was a violation of the law, he turned around and changed that and said it was a rule. What is wrong with Democrats admitting the fact, criminal or not, they violated the law to get here? And when you violate the law, there is a punishment for the violation of laws. And for Black Americans like myself, we're tripping not just because they violated the law. We're tripping that because you politicians, I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans, you give them tangibles, money, houses, cars, contracts, and you clear their records so their records don't reflect their violation of the law, their criminal acts, their illegal status. You clear their records so they're able to get government benefits, government jobs, good jobs, even jobs that are not government jobs, so that they can get insurance, so that they can get all kinds of benefits. That's what we're saying. You do and say things for them. You make rules and regulations, policies. You adjust all that for them in ways that you don't do for us. Y'all see how Don is just up there confused? You guys have to ask yourself, why is he doing that? And whose agenda is Don pushing? Now, some of you all are behind schedule. Some of you all don't know why for years I've gone off on Don. One of the many reasons I've gone off on Don. Vicki looks every inch of good. Thank you so much, Lisa, our beautiful model. Y'all are so sweet. Why y'all are so precious. Somebody say happy birthday to you. Thank you, precious. My birthday was January 2nd. Y'all was such a blessing to me. All of you that gave gifts. Some of you sent me stuff in the mail. Some of you gave digital gifts. All of your gifts are blessed 1,000-fold. Don, some of you all don't know him and Joy Reid. Y'all need to look at me real good. He's done a lot of stuff. But why have I gone off on Don over the years? One of several reasons. Listen to me. Do you know that it was Don Lemon at the time he was on CNN? And Joy Reid at the time she was on MSNBC? There were many others, yes. One of the biggest groups that had what they called that COVID hesitancy. Y'all remember who was one of the top groups that was hesitant to take that shot? How many of y'all know I used to even use the word? I stopped using the word COVID online. I stopped using the word vaccine online, all those. Who was the top group that was the most resistant or the most reluctant to take the shot? Tell me in the chat, somebody. Tell me in the chat. What group of Americans were the most resistant to the shot, family? That's right, Franklin. Us. You got that right. Oh, it's your birthday month too, Miss Lisa. Oh, she's a longtime supporter of mine. Happy birthday, precious. Black folks, look at me, y'all, because some of y'all weren't keeping up. How many of y'all know I did a bunch of offline 911 underground webinars because they were censoring us online. They were demonetizing us online. How many of you all know that when I was on different networks like Fly Nubian Queen, I was doing content for Your Black World at the time. I was doing content for Dr. Boyce. I was doing content for different other affiliate networks as well. How many of you all know they were cracking down on Vicki Dillard before COVID hit? They were demonetizing our truth telling before COVID. And none of y'all little conscious white folks that you love so much today had a damn thing to say about it. Now y'all treat them like the heroes because they came late for lunch to government technology. And now that they start being censored a little bit and stuff, that all of a sudden stuff started to shift. Anyway, I was used to that. So when I realized what was going on with COVID early on, not only did we have to be careful with language that we were using online because they were censoring us even more with the algorithms, it was my idea to come up with doing the offline webinars so that we could still get the truth out. That's how I ended up doing some collaborations back to back with a vaccine expert, Dr. Rowling at the time. I did a couple with him. I did a couple with 2 or 3 with Brother Reza Islam. That was me, baby. And I had to do a lot of that offline so that the information to be shared with the public was not being censored. Are y'all listening to me? With that being said, why am I bringing that up with Don? Do you know that because they had so much hesitancy amongst Black Americans, Foundation of Black American groups in particular, guess what? Guess who helped to push the narrative of us being punished and for the Biden administration to start cracking down? Guess what faces were the ones that use their platforms to urge the Biden administration to really crack down on us and to do the mandatory stuff and to do the shutdowns? Guess who it was, y'all? Guess who they stood behind to do it? While y'all out here acting like he's the man. I asked you all a question. Guess who was one of the top voices that helped to come out to push for the Biden administration to crack down on us to justify the mandates and stuff? Lionel says, we met you there wherever you was, Sister Vicki. That's so sweet. Yes, Don Lemon and Joy Reid. They were one of the early voices that urged the Biden administration to become stronger in shutting down folks that did not want to take the shot. Did y'all know that? Don't you dare let that ninja off. They were having such a hell of a time with Black folks taking it. How many of y'all remember they changed hip hop songs to get us to take the shot? How many of y'all remember they was giving Black women with children cards and Visa money for food? They were giving them rides and gas money. Y'all forgot that? I said, did you all forget that? Did you all forget that they put us in the news and dogged us because we were hesitant? Do you all know they mocked us when Black folks were saying that they were doing their research? Joy Reid literally mocked Black folks for doing research on doing the shot, literally. Who said that? Get your booties to the pole. That's exactly right. They said all that too. They paid other social media voices, alternative voices. How many of y'all know a publication, a white publication came out against me, put me in their news publication, slandered me, never reached out to me because I did a broadcast on Tyler Perry. I quoted Tyler Perry. I played the clip of Tyler Perry when he was on Gayle King's morning show saying how he was not even wanting to take the shot. But he ended up taking the shot when the medical hospital industry called him to take the shot. And he ended up doing a BET TV special on it to get Black folks to go take it. Y'all are out here crazy, acting like this man is a real journalist. He threw us under the bus, him and Joy Reid, when they was on there because they was having a hard time getting Black folks to do it. Y'all remember now? They did a whole bunch of other shady stuff too, but I'm just using that as one example. Because they couldn't get Black folks to do right. So Don Lemon and Joy Reid urged the Biden administration. So when some of y'all lost your houses because of you refused to take the shot, some people were losing their jobs, some people couldn't make their car notes. They were the ones that was out there on the front line telling them to get stronger and harsher with us. Y'all know that, right? Let me get back to where I'm going. That's why I don't have no love for him. There's a bunch of other reasons too. But notice how Don Lemon starts bringing up Nicki Minaj's alleged pedo family and loved ones, right? What was being said about Joe Biden for years? Not only the fact that he was alleged to have sexually assaulted numerous women, but it was credibly alleged that he had some suspect relations, connections, activity, gesturing with young children. And one of the people that was said to have been one of the top whistleblowers, a white lady, how many of y'all know she was basically exiled in another country and they refused to even put her on mainstream news and they tried to shut her down in a whole other country so that she wouldn't come forward? I'm trying to see how is it that Don Lemon could force us to vote for Joe Biden when this man had a whole reputation for some stuff that's in that same category. Y'all know that, right? and how media, mainstream media, helped to shut down the voices and the stories of those that were credibly alleging that there was some weird stuff that was going on with Joe Biden and these women, young or older. Y'all know that, right? So if he gonna bring up the pedo stuff on Nicki Minaj, that's fine. Just make sure you bring it up on the Democrat Party, folks, too. But here's the thing that I want to say to you all while y'all out here tripping over ICE. And do I believe that there are some tactics with ICE that are problematic? Hell yeah, I do. But do I think that that should be a priority over foundational Black Americans that's locked up in prison today? No. I believe that every Black foundational Black American prisoner needs to be suing the hell out of ICE, out of the government, and out of any and everybody that has not made them a priority to release them. I believe that they need to be suing any and everybody, filing grievances and doing any and everything that they can against both Democrat and Republican Party for making anybody the priority over them. That's the issue that I have. Now let me tell you something. The reason we feel empathetic for the agenda that ICE has against folks, and they've been doing some shady stuff, is because we're seeing it on the news. Roland did the same thing too. Yes, he did. Roland was pushing the shot too. You damn Skippy. Roland was dogging Black folks about that too. You sure right. So you got to ask yourself, they work for the elites. And how many of y'all know that we've got proof now that they was making mischief with those shots? They were targeting us, and they were also targeting a world agenda. So I'm asking you all, are y'all going to hold them accountable for pushing that? Watch this. Come back to where I'm going with this. The reason there is empathy for folks that are targeted by ICE is because we're seeing it. Is that right? It's because Black media, white media, all kind of media folks, day in and day out, are doing full-fledged coverage. But can I say something to you? When I was going through my plight years ago and I was reaching out to the media, they didn't want to hear my story. When I was done with one leg of the unjust trial and sentencing I received, I still didn't get the traction that I should have gotten. Nobody wanted to scrutinize and look into my situation about the injustice that was done. But let me say something to you now. The offense is not just the tactics and not just a private prison company and not just the other ulterior motives that all kinds of folks have using the ICE issue. My thing is the fact that we even know anything about it at all. How is it that whether they're a criminal or any other violator of the law to get here, immigrant, migrant, the fact that we're even hearing their story and the fact that they even get the mic is something that Black Americans don't even get. And that is something that you all should be outraged about, because how many of you all know that before the election, Drake was not having voices like mine on because they wanted to push a certain type of narrative to make sure that the Democrats won? How many of you all know Joy Reid specifically targeted FBA and other Black voices to shut us down, calling us Russian bots and basically treating us like the enemy when she was on MSNBC? How many of y'all know that when Tiffany Cross was on MSNBC, she literally called out some of us by name and told her audience specifically not to listen to our voices? Before Trump got in office, even when Tiffany was fired from MSNBC, remember her and Angela Rye were using their little podcast? And even when they were seeing video footage of Black folks that was still holding the Democrat Party accountable, especially in Chicago and other such areas, telling them to stop prioritizing migrants and giving them all kinds of tangibles and not giving Black folks tangibles. How many of y'all know Tiffany Cross was still doubling down, saying she don't even believe that those videos of Black folks objecting to them were even real? She still felt it was beneath her to talk with us. How many of y'all remember that it was a Democrat Party during this last election? How many of y'all remember that the Democrats, when they were holding the DNC committee, they did it for almost a week where in Chicago? How many of y'all remember that the Democrats threatened not to even do a live physical DNC convention because they were so afraid that Black Americans were going to show up and disrupt it. They were working to silence Black American voices. How many of y'all remember that? Overthinking says Vicki is the realist. Thank you, precious. How many of y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember that in Chicago, I did coverage a couple of years or so ago about y'all's Black mayor there, because he's there. He's been there, I think, approximately 2 years there. Is that right? Somebody correct me on that. Shortly after he got in office, how many of y'all remember he was so tired of Black Americans coming to the political meetings? We were so strong and politically active in Chicago that y'all's Black Democrats and y'all's Democrat Party proposed rules to make Black Chicago citizens have state issue IDs to attend. You would have to register in advance so that they could scrutinize you before you got there, and propose rules so that the citizens can't get close to the politicians to testify, so they will have you all in the overflow rooms. How many of y'all know that it was a watchdog government agency that told him, fool, if you implement that law, dummy, you would be likely violating the law. So when the Democrats told us that the Republicans demanding state IDs to vote was targeting Black folks and it was racist, how many of y'all know it was Democrats that proposed for you to even attend a meeting that they wanted you to have a state issued ID? Somebody just said the ancient Black ancestry of FBA are speaking through the beautiful sister Vicki tonight. Thank you, precious. I want you all, see, they don't want you to connect these dots. It was the Democrats that were working overtime to shut down Black folks before Trump got into office. And it was Black Americans that were saying, reason with us, talk with us, hear us. And Democrats threatened to shut down Black voices. So I'm showing you instances where the Democrat political party threatened to silence our voice and did silence us. And I'm giving you examples of Black media voices that had big, powerful positions on MSNBC, CNN, that were using those platforms to shut us down for years, to silence us for years. And in the instance of Don Lemon and Joy Reid, they were working, in my opinion, also to force us to take the shots. Are y'all listening? This was before ICE. Listen again. Shout out to our brother Cool Keezy in the building. I said this was before ICE. And so because Black Americans were doing everything that we could to get the Democrat parties to do right by us, we were begging them to give us a reason to go to the polls to support them. But instead, they said, blank you. They gave us a big fat middle finger. And they start doing the bidding of others. Let me tell y'all something. ICE is shady in a lot of ways. I was looking at a post that somebody made the other day. I'm going to say something. I'm going to get ready to go. Give me a few more minutes, okay? Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Share. Welcome to my personal channel here at VickiDillard.tv. Beloved, I'm going to try to start doing lives once a week on my channel. I'm still going to be doing content on other places. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you check the community page when I post. Make sure that you're on my email list on my website. My website is pinned above. And also, family, get your 2026 calendars. We're still in the first month of the year, so get your pictorial calendars. I got a beautiful, yummy picture. I got some pictures that I ain't never given to the public. Is in here, baby. You got to get the calendar, baby. I love it so much. Beautiful, sacred beauty. Get your calendar. It's for men and for women, this particular calendar. I do an annual calendar on a regular basis, so you can order yours on my website. The link is pinned above at VickiPlanet.com. That's VickiPlanet.com. Listen. Are y'all listening? I was listening to somebody post about, did y'all see that where a white ICE officer was arrested, I think, and charged because he was forcing an ICE lady that was detained in ICE in order for her to see her family. He would force the lady to sleep with him. Did y'all see somebody? Did y'all see people posting about that? Huh? Some black folks were outraged because some of you all was like, I cannot believe somebody said a Nicaragua lady. Okay, maybe it was her. She was in ICE custody, is my point. Miss Sharifa said, no, she hasn't seen the guys. Okay, yes, but listen. So this white man who was with ICE, look. Let me see if I can, is this it? Yeah. This ICE officer, yeah, Border Patrol officers accused of, you know what, some of these algorithms be messing up a lot of times, for forcing a lady, let me see. ICE detained I think this is the one. Yep. Can y'all see this headline? I should probably just, let me see if you can see it like this. I'm gonna put it up to the screen. Y'all know I'm gonna do the receipts, baby. We'll have to stop live because a lot of stuff, I don't ever plan on bringing up because I wasn't supposed to be talking about all this right now. Y'all see this? This was reported. Y'all see him? Let me step back. Let me turn it this way. Can y'all see it? Can y'all see this headline? Somebody said he was buying her food and giving her jewelry. Y'all see that? An ICE officer admitted to raping a woman in custody for months. He did it in exchange for letting her see her daughter. So many people been posting this, right? So many people were outraged, right? Somebody say, as we should be. That's disgusting. But I want to ask you all something. This goes all the way back from 2016. Sometime thereafter, Vicki Dillard covered this back to back to back. How many of you all know about the name of some guy named, a former officer, Oklahoma officer by the name of Daniel Hartsclaw? Let me see if I can pull that up. How many of y'all remember an Asian and white officer, former Oklahoma officer? Hold on, let me see. Yep. Oh, baby, let me take you back. Let me take you back. Let me take you back. I'm making a point here. Y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember Daniel Hartsclaw, an Asian and white Oklahoma officer? Y'all see this? Let me turn it this way. Y'all see this Guardian headline? What does it say? What does it say, y'all? This light thing be getting in the way. That's why I be trying to angle it. What does it say, y'all? Y'all see his funny looking self? I went through his story in depth. What's is something going on? Do we need to remove somebody out the chat? No drama up in here, baby. Look at this. For those of you that don't know, this is from 2016. This officer, listen good. This is from Y'all see the date? I don't want y'all think I'm making this up. January 21st, 2016 is when this was covered. This has been going on for a long time. A judge on Thursday sentenced Daniel Hartsclaw, the former Oklahoma City police officer convicted of raping and sexually assaulting 8 different women while on duty, to 263 years in prison. A resounding win for his victims who had called for Hartsclaw to spend the maximum number of years behind bars. Judge Timothy Henderson read the sentence before a packed courtroom in the Oklahoma County Courthouse. Dozens more people were crammed in the hallways and the inter-overflow rooms. Several of Hartsclaw's victims spoke before the ruling, asking the judge to levy a long prison sentence. This is what some of you all don't know. His story and why Vicki covered it years ago. Several times, he targeted Black women. And poor ones at that. And in one instance, a Black woman was at home with her man. He forced the Black man to leave, and the Black man left her while she was raped in her house by this white and Asian police officer. It was also said that he was raping other Black women while they were in custody, and I think one of them was actually still chained to a gurney. Y'all know I dealt with an unjust criminal case. So what kind of stories do you think I know COs do? They damn dirty. I said they damn dirty. Now, why is it that we didn't get this outrage amongst Black America and the rest of the world? Because they didn't cover the story like that. And the couple of Black folks that did finally hear about the story, remember, some of the advocates were saying how the media refused to cover this story like they should. So you guys have this empathy that you have for ICE that you never have for our brothers and sisters that are still behind bars. And you damn sure didn't have it for Black women. And I know a little something about this topic. The reason why some of you all are outraged to hear that ICE forced a woman to sleep with him in order to see her child is because the reason why he was able to do that, because that's protocol, damn it. Plenty of Black women experienced that. And the reason Daniel Hartsclaw, as the evidence came out, is believed that he did way more than the women he was convicted. Those were just the ones that were willing to finally come forward. And one Black woman was a grandmother that finally said she didn't give a damn what it would cost her. She was one of the first ones to do it. And there were other Black women that were behind bars, but because they were afraid that if they brought them out to testify before the jury, they felt that they would not be seen as credible because they were still quote unquote criminals. So he specifically targeted the poorest Black woman, and especially Black women that had drug addictions, because he knew they were less likely to be believed. This was the evidence that came out. So the 263 years that he got, he should have been getting more because he had even more victims. So for those of you that are outraged that ICE did it, the reason why ICE knew how to do it because the protocol was already set, particularly with Black women. And you all aren't outraged about it because you're not listening to voices like Vicki Dillard that was hammering this topic, this subject, when I was on Fly Nubian Queen and when I was on other platforms as well as my own. There's not an empathy. And the reason it's not empathy first and foremost is because the media was willing to listen to the voice of illegal immigrants. You were willing to sympathize with migrants. And I'm a woman of the world. You all know I do international coverage all the time. I have to deal with some of you FBAs tell me, what am I talking about international issues for? Y'all used to tell me that before the ICE stuff hit. But the shame is on the media because they didn't consider our stories to be worthy of even covering it. So when you see someone screaming and hollering over and over and over again, when you keep hearing their voice, their stories, their families, but you don't get that regular coverage and that same type of insight for Black folks, you don't give a damn about our people that are still languishing in prison. And then when some of our people say, fight your own fight, you are mad that Black folks don't want to come out to do the fighting now. I wanted to bring that out, and I wanted to put a name and a face and give you the receipts from the Guardian News, just to let you all know how long I've been on this and how some of you all didn't give a damn. You weren't moved that he had a long history of this. This man was doing this for years and years, and nobody did anything about it. Until a Black grandmama, I think she was pulled over by this fool. A Black grandmother is the one that opened up the door and was willing to pay the ultimate cost. and another Black woman had to be raped in her home. Her man was there. Her man left her to be raped. And many more stories. Remember, he was only convicted related to 8 instances, 8 different victims, but it was way more. So ICE knew about the protocol because ICE ain't nothing but the police. They've always been doing this. And you guys didn't care. You didn't make a post. You didn't share it with your very large audiences, and you were outraged. You didn't demand that systems and institutions be changed when it happened to my dear sisters over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You don't even cover Black prisoners. You yawn at it and you continue eating your tacos once you do hear a little something about it. It's not a sexy story. And many of you weren't supporting voices like mine, even though I got my audience, baby. When Vicki show up somewhere in real life, but mainstream folks don't want you to hear from me. People, places, and things do stuff. Even people that have certain platforms that I was once connected to, when they start acting a fool, some of them don't even understand that their mistreatment of me, they were being used by a spirit and energy to continue to participate in the suppression of my voice and impact. And baby, you got one thing messed up. That's impossible to do. You're going to get your judgment. But I understand for me, first and foremost, it's always about spiritual warfare because they're concerned about my impact. You understand? But the cat is already out the bag. And the problem is when you don't see power in its incipiency in its early stages. You don't get to be like, well, oh, so-and-so got all these views. That's not impact, ninja. Some of you are a lot of copycats anyway. What ICE is doing in some instances isn't right. I'm saying that your outrage still needs to be there for your Black family that's still suffering and that's not getting this amount of attention. Can you imagine our brothers and sisters that's locked up, that's behind bars, that's like, damn, nobody cried for us like that, for me. Nobody demanded that they clear my records, and I was just doing this to feed my family, and I never even did it again. I'm doing a role play. Can you imagine our family that's still behind bars saying they were raped by a CO and didn't nobody give a damn? They filed a grievance while in prison, and the staff, prison staff, I know about that, retaliates when you file grievances, when they find out that you're the ones that file a grievance against them. So they mess with you by putting you in the prison, by giving you a trumped up violation. They can force somebody to give you a certain type of job that you don't want as punishment. They can move you overnight to punish you. They can do a strip search on you to frustrate you and to humiliate you. Oh, I know about that. Bunch of them. Strip now to punish you for doing something right. And then when they shake down your room, when they shake down your locker and they can't find no contraband, it pisses them off. And when they plant another prisoner in the room with you to see if they can get some inside information, and they realize, nigga, please, you still can't get shit. Because that's what they would say and feel like. When you can't get nothing on her, no matter when you put somebody to plant, you still can't get nothing. Then they retaliate further. I said the staff. And nobody cries for those individuals. And when you have another prisoner that sees that you're being targeted by the staff, because every time they have you work for the U.S. government's military to use your labor for them, and every time you come back from the base, they keep targeting you to strip you, that even one of your fellow prisoners says, CO, strip me today. strip me because they see they targeting you. Oh, that's my story. You got other staff members coming out confessing. Oh, I did that because so-and-so, the administrator told me if I didn't do X, Y, and Z. So-and-so told me to do that and put that in so-and-so's file. And nobody gave a damn. And nobody wanted to hear the story. And nobody wanted to hear the receipts. Nobody wanted to hear the truth. Nobody wanted the evidence. So can you imagine how disgusted some of us get when we see all of this care and concern and resources from both Republican and Democrat, from the media, the fact that we're even hearing from you. Some of us couldn't even get a hearing in the court of public opinion, let alone get justice in the court of law. There's some stuff right there. My brother Cool Keezy just said a preponderance of evidence. They don't know about that, brother. See, my brother Cool Keezy, he know about this. He knows about this. What did you say, Cool Keezy? He said file a grievance and you get targeted further. Let me hit the gavel on that. See, y'all don't know about some of those silent fights. Trying to get justice. Fighting the case on the outside, and then you fighting staff that's at you. And you ain't trying to get in no mess. You're trying to mind your business. And you got staff saying out loud to other prisoners, she got too much power. Y'all something else. Y'all something else. It's a bit disgusting. Not just that we didn't get justice. You refuse to even hear us, let alone see the evidence, let alone apply the law properly. And you targeted us from within and without. But for somebody that violated the law to get here, you want to talk to me about their family? You want to talk to me about their plight? You got a hell of a nerve. Don Lemon, you are a big fat trick. And I don't care what community you want to associate with. You're a big fat trick, ninja. Because you work for the system, the institution, and you playing games with the public. I'm not going to get involved in no conversation with him and no Nicki Minaj. Because he ain't nothing but a devil trying to get another cable news job. Cry for the founders and the creators of this country. Oasis, love, your gift is blessed 1,000-fold. One more thing I want to say. Don sitting up here talking about people that's in detention centers. And again, I'm not sitting here promoting the stuff that ICE does. I'm just saying the police, law enforcement, the prison system is still screwing over our people. And y'all don't have the same kind of energy, care, or concern, or coverage. See, when you don't have coverage, thank you, Spirit, you don't have care. They use your sympathy to push an agenda in a certain way. Both sides. So that we don't care one way or another. For Black folks, you make sure not to ever cover it. Both Republican and Democrat. And that's what makes you a devil. One thing, Don was about the life of supporting the Kamala Harrises of the world, right? Before y'all saw Don twitching his hips out there with a microphone, pretending like he's an activist on the ground, Don is going real hard pro-immigration against ICE. locking up folks, all this stuff. I've discussed this many times before. This is an article from Axios from 2026 about the 2020. No, that's not the one I was looking for. See, look, y'all, I be having several. Look, I be having several. Here, this is the one I had. I be having several stacked up for my broadcast because the other ones I pulled up today, I wasn't even supposed to be talking about that. This is one I had ready too. Y'all see this one from the American Prospect? I've discussed this many times. What date does this say? What date does this say, y'all? Somebody said 2011. No, the top says 2011 Supreme Court ruling, but the date of the article, you got that? 2020. Yes, 2020. Listen, what does the headline say? What does the headline say? Can somebody please tell Don if he wants to do any kind of broadcast, he can talk about this. What does the headline say? What does the headline say? Before the ice became an issue in the past couple of years, Don Lemonade. Somebody put some lemons in the chat since he like to call his stuff lemon drop. Y'all, that's his term, lemon drop. Y'all see what the headline says? How Kamala Harris fought to keep prisoners locked up. Now, y'all have heard about this before. But the reason why I keep revisiting this is because Kamala Harris' position was particularly egregious. And so Don doesn't want us to get upset about this Democrat who believes in locking up nonviolent, and in many cases, innocent prisoners from years ago. Now, 2020 is when they're covering Kamala. But what was it about? It was about a what? A 2011 Supreme Court ruling. So y'all got that part right? But listen to some of the stuff that we keep forgetting. The subtitle says, as California Attorney General, she spent years subverting Kamala. Don Lemonade. She was subverting the law, brother. A Supreme Court ruling, Don. Kamala Harris. As California's Attorney General, she spent years subverting a 2011 Supreme Court ruling requiring the state to reduce its prison population. The overseeing judicial panel, y'all, why does Vicki keep revisiting this from years ago? Because I'm scared y'all gonna forget. Somebody send this to Don and tell Don that the courts considered her to be violating the law. So much so that they seriously considered doing what, family? The judicial panel considered doing what, family? What were they getting ready to do to California's top attorney, the one that's supposed to uphold the law? What was they seriously considered doing against Kamala Harris, y'all? Y'all see it? Thank you, Ms. Sharifa. A judicial panel was considering holding her in contempt of court, which means that she was violating the law. Your law makers, those that are supposed to uphold the law in her instance, the top attorney for the state, they were so sick of her, they was getting ready to hold her in contempt of court. Y'all forget stuff like this? Why would they do that? I'm not going to read all this because this is a very long article. I've gone through it in depth many times in the past and in the recent past. A few years ago in the past and in the recent past, I've discussed it. So I'm not going to go there right now. But listen to a few things. Senator Kamala Harris, a leading candidate to be Joe Biden's running mate, repeatedly and openly defied the U.S. Supreme Court orders to reduce crowding and to reduce overcrowding in California's prisons while serving as the state's attorney general, according to the legal documents reviewed by the Prospect. This is what some folks forget. Working in tandem with Governor Jerry Brown. Politicians work with other politicians in different positions. Don't y'all forget this. working in tandem with Governor Jerry Brown, Harris and her legal team filed motions that were condemned by who? The public? Not only the public, but by judges and legal experts. Other judges and other legal experts considered what? Kamala Harris and her office to what? Be obstructionist, bad faith, and nonsensical. At one point, suggesting that the Supreme Court lacked the jurisdiction to order a reduction in California's prison population. That was Kamala's then position. Are y'all listening real quick? It says that the intransigence of this legal work resulted in the presiding judges in the case. Who? The presiding judges in the case were so offended by Kamala Harris's office, y'all, and what they considered to be violations of the law. They gave serious consideration to holding the state in contempt of court. Observers worried that the behavior of Harris's office had undermined the very ability of federal judges to enforce their legal orders at the state level. Y'all know I always do the receipts and connect the dots. Don Lemon, Nade, is not outraged by this, though. The extreme resistance to a Supreme Court ruling was done to prevent the release of fewer than 5,000 nonviolent offenders whom multiple courts had cleared as presenting next to no risk of recidivism or threat to public safety. Recidivism means returning back to prison, having a history of that. It said what? These thousands of nonviolent offenders were cleared by multiple courts. And they were considered to be no threat to public safety. Kamala and her office gave the courts the big fat middle finger to keep them locked up. Where is Don Lemon and the rest of the folks outraged for disproportionate Black family being locked up before ICE? Y'all see this? Y'all listen. I'm skipping. The article is very long, but very good. But there's a couple things I want you all to know how egregious Kamala was. As the article says, y'all, federal courts seldom look to prisoner release. It's a remedy of last resort. In other words, the article is telling you courts never, ever, ever, ever go straight to just letting somebody go leave prison. As it said here, it's a remedy of last resort. So if the courts, the Supreme Court in particular, is ordering that, guess what that means? That must mean that the prisons for actual American citizens were so egregious that they forced an order that California reduce its prison population, and Kamala was fighting against it. A couple things that I want you all to know how egregious it was, because I'm going to skip. It's too long, but just a couple things. I've talked about this many times before. I'm going to say it again. Listen. At its height, it stuffed, it said, some 200% of its design capacity. There was not enough beds or medical personnel, but an extreme excess of bodies. Ain't nobody talking about no ICE detention facility. We talking about regular prisons that Kamala fought to keep Black folks disproportionately in. It was other folks too, but y'all know we disproportionately make up the prison population. Kamala was fighting to keep them in there. Listen, in one prison, 54 prisoners shared a single toilet. Can I ask y'all something? Why is it that I have to hear about ICE detention facilities and not being up to par, but y'all don't hear about Kamala maintaining these kinds of prisons for American citizens? Answer me, somebody. I'm not done. I'm going to say that again. In one prison, 54 prisoners, 54 share one toilet. Y'all ready for this next part? Preventable deaths. due to substandard and overstretched medical care occurred every 5 to 6 days. Suicidal inmates were locked in telephone booth-side cages for 24 hours at a time. Under Kamala, 54 people were sitting on the toilet. Under Kamala, she was fighting to keep citizens in those conditions. And Don Lemon and them and everybody else weren't saying a damn thing about it. Instead, you all was cussing us out if we didn't go to the polls to vote for her. Talk black to me, somebody. What did I say? Something in my eye. Suicidal inmates were locked in telephone booth-sized cages for 24 hours. What did I just say? Preventable deaths. We're not talking about just substandard and subpar conditions. Bed, food, clothing, facilities. What did I just say? Because of the substandard and overstretched medical care, preventable deaths occurred every 5 to 6 days. Kamala was fighting to keep us in these conditions. Where's the outrage, family? For nearly 2 decades, it says Republicans and Democratic administrations essentially ignored the problem. Who did? Both parties did. It says, despite constitutional protections for prisoners against cruel and unusual punishment enshrined in the Bill of Rights, finally, in 2009, a federal district court found that no other plausible solution existed for getting the state to conform to a constitutionally reasonable standard than a forced prison release. That's how horrible it was. It was so horrible for so long that the court said, damn it, get them out. The district court mandated that the state enact a series of decarceration measures to reduce the prison population to 137.5% of its design capacity within 2 years. The state appealed the district court ruling. They appealed it, objecting. May 23rd, 2011, the Supreme Court found in Brown versus Platter that California's prison system was in violation of the prisoner's Eighth Amendment rights. Despite its relatively conservative tilt, the court, I'm going to say this slow, despite its relatively conservative tilt, talking about the Supreme Court, the court identified prison release as the most effective method for ending the state's constitutional violation in a timely manner. And the verdict split 5-4 with conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy. How many of y'all remember him? He wrote the majority on that, the conservative. Listen. Upholding a lower court mandate, Kennedy wrote the majority opinion in the case, including an array of gruesome details from inside those prisons and condemning the state for facilitating, quote, needless suffering and death. The Democrat under Kamala Harris, let me get it straight. Y'all see this? It was so bad that even the conservative Supreme Court justices jumped in and said the only thing that they can find was to release those prisoners and condemning the state. Y'all see it? For facilitating, that's a quote, needless suffering and death. So the moment y'all hear Democrats and Republicans screaming about ICE, substandard facilities for people that violate the law to get here, criminals, remember it was the Democrats that had to be condemned even by conservatives on the Supreme Court for facilitating needless death and suffering. At that point, it says Kamala had been the state's attorney general for just over 4 months, representing California as its top legal officer. But the Supreme Court ruling would have been enacted on her watch. So they were saying it was an ongoing problem before she got there. But they said this enactment was done while it was on her watch. Every 6 months, y'all listen, the state would have to show it had decreased its prison population in compliance with the threshold overseen by a 3-judge district court panel. 167% of capacity by the end of 2011, 155% by June 2012, and finally arriving at the target level of 137.5% by June 2013. It soon became clear that the state would hold out on complying with the judicial order. 2011 passed with little progress made by the decarceration mandate, and by 2012, a report surfaced that proved the state actually intended, y'all ain't gonna believe this, Kamala's funny looking self on her watch, and others, instead of them decreasing it by the time, read what it says next. I gotta get this up close. Y'all know I gotta get this in the screen so y'all see this. What does it say? It says it soon became clear that the state would hold out on complying with the judicial order. 2011 passed with little progress made on the decarceration mandate, and by 2012, a report surfaced that proved, somebody say proved, that the state actually intended to increase its prison population. In May that year, Harris's office, quote, confirmed their intent not to comply with the order, but instead to seek its modification from 137.5% design capacity to 145. A modification that was not permitted, it says. The deadline for compliance was eventually extended to the end of 2013. Harris has been criticized on multiple occasions for fighting to keep people, including innocent ones, in prison. It goes on with much more, including how 2 months from the initial deadline from April 2013, given in that the Supreme Court decision, California had 9,636 prisons, more than the court-imposed ceiling. The state submitted a proposal that involved relocating inmates to fire camps to fight wildfires and preventing out-of-state prisons from being returned. But upon review, the 3-court panel found that that still left California's prisons, some 4,107 prisons, over the hard limit. After a series of back and forth, a 3-panel judge arrived at a solution: the expansion of good time credits for nonviolent offenders, shorting stays often by just a handful of months. Even the state's own expert witness had testified years prior that he did not oppose good time credit measures, and that there was no correlation between length of stay and recidivism, meaning that the public was not at risk. Other states, Washington, Illinois, even tough on crime New York, had implemented these programs with success. The court found good time credits alone would do more than enough to close the gap and solve the problem for good. Some 5,385 inmates were eligible for release under good time credits, but Governor Brown, with Harris as his defense lawyer, did not agree. I'm gonna stop there. I can say more. I think you get the point. I'm trying to show you that actual deaths were occurring every 5 to 6 days with Democrat Kamala as top attorney general, trying to keep American citizens in prison. This is the history of your political parties. We damn sure know that Republicans believe in keeping Black folks locked up. I'm saying, y'all want us to be outraged over ICE when you allowed our people to literally die and languish in prison. And you bucked against the law to release them, so much so that actual judges were considering seriously holding Kamala Harris and her office in contempt of court. I said a whole lot, but I want Don Lemonade and his ilk to cover this. I need to see the outrage about the mistreatment of Black folks before we jump to talking about ICE detention facilities. Beloved, thank you so much for tuning into my channel here. Of course, some of you all know that I still have my monthly low-cost, affordable Vicki Dillard Mystery School. I do a live spiritual lecture every month just for my students in my school. They get discounts on a regular basis. They get sacred rituals that I do not share with the public. My students have been getting manifestations and breakthroughs. If you want to connect, if you want to change your life, beloved, and you want to have access to universal teachings, it doesn't matter what your spiritual background is. My teachings cross all religious and spiritual boundaries because they're very potent, they're very important, and they're universal. Go to my website. It's pinned above at VickiPlanet.com and join there. Also, if you want to get your annual 2026 pictorial calendar of me, we're still in the beginning of the year. Beloved, get yours today. Be inspired by sacred beauty. It's so yummy. This is for both men and women. Get yours today or buy one for someone else. This is one way you can truly support Black media. You're getting something in exchange. Yes, beloved, and so much more that can be done. I've got so many other things going on. I have my schools for my men only, Treasures of Darkness, that's closed. I'm not taking applications right now. We only have a waiting list for the next course that's coming up in a couple of months. And I also am doing, on top of my monthly mastermind, I'm doing a 90-day course for my ladies only. It's a high-level Isis Goddess Mystery Temple. That's closed. I'm not taking the applications for that one either, beloved. But I am taking students for my low-cost monthly mastermind, the Vicki Dillard Mystery School. So you can go to my website. The link is pinned above at VickiPlanet.com. You can purchase your calendars there. You can see my store. And be sure to subscribe to my email list there. Why? Because when you see other changes coming, other launches, other releases, we make sure to send out an email directly to everyone. How many of y'all know that some of these platforms can be really funny? Some of you all know me over the years because you've seen me on other networks that I helped to build over the years. I'm so shocked still to this day. After all this time, so many people find me on other platforms and say, where have you been? I've been looking for you. That's because I gave so much of my life and so much of my yummy magic to other people and other platforms that I did not invest in my personal brand. And business and so forth. So because those businesses that I had with them, those platforms, those networks, I was doing several different things, have ceased. I'm starting from scratch on my own. Yes. And in addition, taking care of some other things behind the scenes. So if you want to stay connected directly outside of those these limitations on these platforms, which they can be very fickle, join my email list at VickiPlanet.com. Just go to VickiPlanet.com, scroll to the bottom where it says subscribe, input your information. That way you're a part of my list and you'll be notified. Yes. Or can somebody put my text number in the my text number? Y'all, I have to type it in. Let me see. Also, you can join my text list so that you can get direct notifications for launches on my text message list, 303-529-2572. There you go. Y'all see it there? Join my text list also if you want to get direct notification. Yes, 303-529-2572. 303-529-2572. Shout out to our moderators in the building. Thank you all for being with me. Shout out to all of you that joined at the last minute. Thank you for joining me today, beloved. Make sure you are regularly checking the community post because sometimes I put notifications there. Be sure you follow me on all the platforms. I got 2 Facebook pages at Dillard Vicki. Spell my name right, Vicki. Sometimes I post on TikTok. I stopped posting for them a long time ago because they start playing too many games. So I just throw up something from time to time over there now because they play too many games. But make sure you pay attention to the one where I'm verified because there's a lot of little fake Vicki Dillard things all over social media. You can follow me on X, which I got to start posting more on X too, at Dillard Vicki, and you can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. You know, on all the social media. Just look for me, but just make sure you look for the verified Vicki Dillard. Don't be following these little fakies. It's too many to keep up with. Yes, I love you all so much. Ms. Lisa Parker, thank you so much, Queen Vicki, and all the moderators and family. She's so sweet. She's been my day one. My precious, precious sister. Y'all have a good evening too. I love you all so much. I bow to you. You are my bliss, beloved. Share the broadcast. Subscribe, and hit all notifications, okay? Somebody said, we still rocking with you, sister. Yes, beloved. Thank you so much. And join the email list and text too, because that way, when you all start seeing my broadcast on other platforms, you'll know my team will notify you that you can watch me here on this network, on this platform. You understand? So subscribing to my email list at Vicki Planet is the best thing to do. And joining the text list at 303-529-2572. That's the best way to stay connected, family, because too many things change. You understand? And we want to make sure that we always have access to you. Yes, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you again.